What's up, my friends? You are currently joining me from Newport, Oregon, right on the coast. A little bit of a different setup. I'm not looking at the ocean this time as I was the last time I did this from the beach. But yeah, I mean, if you guys tuned into the last reading, you guys know that Sue was super excited. Still super excited. It's been a great trip. I was going to go with the girls, but then people started dropping off. People started getting sick. So this turned into a solo dolo, all expense paid for trip, paid for by me, because I'm here by myself. But it's been good. I need to, spirit works in mysterious ways, and I really just needed time alone and to just integrate and just like, man, these energies. But yeah, so we got 4 pieces of silverware here for you to choose from today. I'm just working with what I have, you guys. This is for your February overview, energetic overview, that is. And whenever you're feeling ready, we're going to hop right into your readings. What's up, group number 1? If you guys chose the Big Fork, this is your reading for February overview. Doesn't matter which February, just whenever you're drawn to this. So, I'm looking over here because my setup, y'all know that I'm really working with what I got. So your cards are over here. So if I continue to look over here, that's why. So what I'm seeing for you guys the month of February, I feel like you guys it's really clear that you guys have been working towards something for some time. Something that maybe you haven't seen a lot of like external type of confirmation of, or maybe it's just like not to the extent that you have. And I'm hearing that this is something that you've even questioned, like whether you should even continue moving forward. It's something that I feel like you might have been making tweaks to, like something that you're putting out there, or like a new direction that you want to go in, or it feels like there's like something you're moving towards, or that you have been working towards, that feels like a dream come true, that feels like something that, when you see a medallion, or when I think of medallion, I think of like winning something that I've worked really hard at, right? I think of like Olympians. I think of people that are really training, that are really putting in the work, that are really pushing themselves past their comfort zones and pushing their vitality, expanding their vitality. And I am hearing that it is something that I feel like you've had to make tweaks to. I feel like this is something that you have not felt victorious in all the time. I feel like it's really brought up a lot of your innermost ideas about your worth and about what you can and cannot achieve and what you can and cannot accomplish. I feel like you've been so close time and time again to giving up, and maybe even some senses you've taken a pause, right? You might have taken a pause in terms of pursuing this aspect of your career. This could even be a relationship for some of you guys, but there's just like this idea of, I feel like this really has to do more with like yourself, your sense of self. I feel like this has to do with your dharma. Like it's like whatever you're reaching towards, whatever you want to be seen, or whatever you are like working towards externally, I feel like it's being born from like the innermost self. And so the month of February, I'm hearing that you really are going to see how much progress you really have made, right? We have 8 of Wands moving into 9 of Wands. So this is something that is like, it's been one foot after another. I'm hearing that, your guides are really coming through and saying, like, if you have even like thought about easing up, don't. Like obviously, within your means, within what feels right, but if there's been part of you that has been with this devil moving into the tower energy, if there's been any part of you that's like subconsciously wanting to ease up on your purpose, or ease up on whatever this is, whatever this divine union is, or whatever this devotion is for you, I'm hearing that it's, remain steady, right? You are, with this 5 of Swords moving into 6 of Swords, this person is like leaving a battle. He's leaving the battlefield. See all those swords and all those dead bodies. So he's walking away. It's like, I see this as you guys walking away from any ideas of like past failures, or any ideas of like what your mind might be trying to suggest is or is not happening. Because I am hearing that there's a lot happening behind the scenes for you. There's been a lot of like this process of drawing you nearer towards this destiny, or towards, I really feel like this for a lot of you guys has to do with something creative, something that it adds to your dharmic path, something that you want to be able to sustain you like on a financial level, and it's born from like your innermost self. So it's literally like you putting yourself out there, you know, the parts of you that, you know, you can't really see, and you're making it more tangible for the world to see. And like, I'm literally seeing this as you beaming, and people are just like, you know, paying you, or somehow you're being compensated or rewarded for whatever it is you're doing. For some of you, I am hearing too that you'll receive a lot of confirmation. Like I feel definitely you will see external confirmation of how much progress you have actually made. And I feel like February is really picking up in terms of like wherever you're at and wherever you're going, right? Wherever you feel like you're moving towards, like it's going to be very obvious that you're making progress. However, I also feel like just how you feel internally is going to feel really good. Like you're going to know you're in alignment even more so within the month of February than I feel like you probably have. Yeah, we have 6 of coins moving into 7 of coins. So I feel like this is really like the 6 of coins is all about equal give and take. Like I feel like you have been kind of balancing the scales karmically in some sense, and that's maybe why it hasn't picked up, or whatever it is that you are working towards. I feel like you're kind of in this state of almost like feeling apathetic over the years, and maybe it's been over the past few months, because again, it's like you've been working so hard, you've been working for something, and for whatever reason, you're like, why can I still not see it? Why is it still not in its manifested form? And I'm hearing that there are things that needed to happen karmically, like you are being fine-tuned by your guides, right? My guides call them integrity checks, when we are kind of purified along our dharmic path. We are purified along the path of whatever it is that we feel like we are here to give back to the world. You know, most of the beings that are drawn to my channel, you guys are most definitely going to resonate with being light workers. So I know for vast majority of you, you know, if there's not something that you're doing, if you're not fully set in your career, or maybe you do have a career, but there's something else you want to transition into that's utilizing even more so of your gifts, you know, moving into this age of Aquarius, where it's a lot easier to, you know, create prosperity and supporting ourselves financially, you know, in much different ways than than was even possible even like 20 years ago, right? So I feel like this is really saying month of February, you're going to feel even more so in alignment with your purpose. There might be some external tweaks that you've been making over the years, but I feel like ultimately you're moving out of this energy of feeling apathetic, or feeling like you're doing something wrong, or feeling like you're being punished, or most importantly, feeling like something's not working, or it's not working. Because I am hearing that there are moments where you've deeply questioned if you should continue in this direction, or you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? I'm not seeing anything, right? And I feel like almost too, it's like, with the devil energy moving into the tower, I feel like this is like a huge, like, even if you're like, okay, that's weird because I don't feel anywhere close to this, I'm feeling like the month of February, like there will be a moment where something really clicks. And when you're seeing something from a much different perspective, like you're seeing something that, you know, you're able to see these karmic knots for what they are, or maybe even an element is going to come into your life for some of you guys. Yeah, I'm like seeing this as someone is going to give you something, or you're going to receive a piece of information, or you're going to receive an insight from the divine, where you then understand why the brakes kind of had to have been pumped for a while. Because sometimes it's really just, you know, it can be as simple as we're doing something for a long time and we don't have, you know, too many people tuning into our work or purchasing our work. And so we get really comfortable in our element. We get really comfortable in our own skin and really comfortable in delivering whatever it is that we're delivering. So by the time we do start to receive more recognition or start to receive more clients, it's like we're already in a flow. So it's not like this weird transition of like feeling very overwhelmed because it's something completely new, because you didn't have time to acclimate to that paradigm, right? So I'm hearing your guides are saying they've been slowly acclimating you to into this paradigm. And it's like a lot of these cards, you know, it's like 4 into 5, 6 into 7, 7 into 8, 8 into 9, like 9 into 10. Yeah, that's really cool. It's like this progression. It's definitely telling the story of, you know, the karmic scales have just been balancing. Like you've been slowly making chips away at, your ideas of what you can and cannot do. I'm hearing too that, you know, just look at the first time you had this idea to move in this direction, right? I'm sure it probably felt worlds away, but the more that you're the more that we are dedicated to our path, the longer that we stay on our path, the more it's like we're not just like wishing it could happen or being like, that would be really cool. It's like we start to get in this space where we're just anticipating it, and we know it's only a matter of time, right? Not only is that like one of the major law of attraction principles, if you want to talk about law of attraction from that sense, but that's just like your indication, regardless if you can see it yet, that's how you know that you're already on that timeline. You're already locked into that timeline. And so I'm hearing the month of February, you guys are going to see, even to a greater degree than you might already be seeing, that you have made like a world of progress. And I am hearing there's a significant karmic knot that is like, it's going to feel like it was undone out of nowhere. I'm not sure what this has in regards to, but I am hearing that with this devil and moving into the tower, there's something significant about a karmic knot. And I feel like it does have to do with like, it has to do with your relationship to yourself, maybe your self-esteem, maybe your self-worth, because we do have the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. We have the Hierophant moving into the Lovers. So I feel like this has to do with just like overall, like I'm getting a sense of like, these are symbolic to me, you guys. This is symbolic, group number one, for what you feel like you're deserving of, what you feel like you're worthy of, and not settling, right? And so there's this big karmic knot that's being undone. And so by the time you start, it's like, that's one of the reasons why when some people win the lottery, why they don't end up sustaining it. It's because they didn't go through that natural process of transmutation, transmuting their limited beliefs, right? And that's what your guides have kind of created, like this safeguard for you. So by the time that this starts coming in, which is the month of February, you're going to see a lot of progress, I'm hearing. By the time it starts to come in, you're at a place where you can handle it and where you can sustain it, right? It's like all of these failures, all of these, what you think is a failure, what you think is a shortcoming, it's like, every time you felt like knocked down, or every time you had to like work yourself out of a pit of despair, and every time you had to kind of pick yourself back up and really just continue to tune into your vision and not giving up, like that's a muscle. That's your faith muscle. That's your faith in yourself muscle, right? And so that's been getting stronger. And so that's where your confidence and your self-esteem develops. So this has so much more to do. Spirit's like, this has so much more to do, pal number one, with like, it's so much more than just like sustaining yourself or your business or whatever it is that you want to create in the world. This has a lot more to do with just like what you're emanating, the confidence that you're exuding, right? It's much more about you being solid within yourself, and that's going to attract, again, seek ye, again, I didn't say this yet, but I was thinking it, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else shall be added unto you. I feel like month of February, you're starting to see the all else being added unto you because you've been doing a lot of strengthening, right? You've gotten bored. You've like really wondered, is this the thing? Is this my thing? Should I keep pushing on? Like, even when it felt like all of that energetic momentum, when you had just like barely of a flicker of a flame left, because I'm hearing that you have gotten really down on yourself throughout the months or throughout the years because maybe you just really been working at something for some time. Again, it's like people that win the lottery and then lose it right away don't end up making it back, or they lose it so quickly because they haven't gone through that transmutation process, right? And your guides have really created a safeguard around you. Love them for this, because this is incredible. Because it's like the self-made millionaire, the self-made billionaire. It's like they've gone through that process of undoing their beliefs around money, undoing their beliefs around what they can and cannot see, and they've really shifted their disposition, so they're not taking anything of the form to mean anything about what they can and cannot achieve, right? And so that's why billionaires can go bankrupt, and then months later, just saw 1212, that might be a relevant number for you, years later, they make it back so quickly. Or a lot of the time, you guys, it's even just months, right? It's because they've developed a different relationship to the game, and they see it more as a game. There's more of a lighthearted energy around it, right? So maybe in the past, you had a lot of your self-worth invested in the outcome, right? You had a lot of your self-worth invested in what you could see, if you were getting accolades, if you were being recognized. And because I'm hearing that you guys have really had no choice but to kind of like shift your lens of perception back onto yourself and back on your own personal growth and feeling good about yourself and doing it just because you want to do it, I am hearing that, the scales are finally tipping, right? And so you're going to start to see even more of an overflow, because I feel like you guys might have like seen some trickles or some indications that you're moving in the right direction. And I'm hearing that that's kind of like your guides are like, yes, keep going. We're going to continue to purify you along the way. Don't stop. Don't give up. Continue to progress forward. Continue to move forward. Don't give up, right? And so the month of February, I feel like you are definitely going to feel, and you're feeling so good within yourself. It's like everything else that is starting to come in is going to feel like a bonus. Some of you are even going to get an offer to like a really like an offer that feels out of this world, or an offer that you didn't see coming, like something that you didn't expect from someone that you really admire, or something that feels like too good to be true almost, you're going to get an offer. It might even, for some of you guys, have to do with partnership, but I feel like overall it has to do with like, this is symbolic to me of like the life of your dreams, everything you've been working for, everything that you have been doing like internally, working on internally, and maybe everything that you've always wanted but deep down didn't actually feel worthy for. I feel like the month of February, you're really seeing how far you've come in terms of your growth, in terms of your development, in terms of your lens of perception, and how it's gone from just like, okay, I can see how I'm worthy. It's like now you're really starting to feel it. And so all of that is unseen, all of those, all of the shifts that you have been making internally, right? You're finally, it's like, God, it's finally becoming manifest. And it's so funny because it's that weird dichotomy of like, just when you're like okay with it not happening, because you're like, all right, whatever, you've like kind of lost interest. It's like that thing of like, boy likes girl, girl doesn't like boy, boy stops liking girl, so girl likes boy, that kind of thing, you know. I feel like that's kind of what's happening in the month of February for you. But again, it's like, yeah, having this neutral attitude of like, the hand of the divine is coming down with bestowing these gifts and blessings, and they're like, oh, whatever, continuing to have that lighthearted disposition towards it, and again, not getting lost in the world of form. But the main piece of advice from your guides I'm hearing is to stay on the straight and narrow, like continue to make it just about yourself, like again, like appreciate how far you've come and be grateful, and just like have pride in yourself for how far you've come. Absolutely. Just continue to put your level of importance more so on fine-tuning yourself, because the more you fine-tune yourself, the more that you're going to just be offering up the most pristine gifts and services, products, whatever you do, are going to be of the highest value and the highest prestige for those that are receiving it. So pile number one, I'm going to leave this reading here for now. Congratulations on everything. Congratulations on your progress. That's definitely something to be proud of. Keep me posted. I would love to know how this is manifesting in your guys' life. So yeah, blessings on your journey. Please comment on this video, like it, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope I see you soon. What is up, group number 2? If you guys chose the little fork, this is your reading for February overview. So this is a really interesting pile number 2. Just so you know, my card's over here on a chair. I'm working with what I got. So if I continue to look over here, that's what I'm looking at. So this is really interesting energy I'm seeing. So I want to point out that like there's a lot of imagery here about people. See how these people are reaching, Adam and Eve are reaching for something, and then there's like hands reaching here, and then this flew in a reverse position, but it's like this woman is reaching, it looks like she's reaching, right, but she's throwing up her hat. But ultimately I'm seeing hands reaching towards something, and it's like an inability to grasp it. It's like whatever it is just out of reach. I feel like month of February, there's something that has left you guys. It's like because we have temperance moving into the devil, and then we have the riddle here. I feel like there's something that has been occurring in your life that you can just not wrap your mind around, like why the fuck this is happening. It's showing up as like a really strong karmic lesson in your life. It's something that maybe has felt repetitive. It's something that maybe has brought you a lot of heartache, a lot of tears. This could be a relationship. This could be something that's happening external. This could be like no matter what choice you make, no matter what direction you seem to go, it seems like this energy continues to follow you, right? I mean, this is the Ace of Swords moving into the Two of Swords. So this is the in-between archetype of like the in-between of I have clarity about something. I feel like just the second that you feel like you have clarity, it's like then your mind is pulled in two different directions again, right? It's like you've been having this determination, right? There's a sense of determination of really wanting to understand this with all of this air energy that's coming through. I mean, you also have the Justice and the Hanged Man. So I feel like the month of February, you guys, your best bet in terms of wanting to receive clarity around whatever this karmic knot is not feeding it, is not overly focusing on it. I mean, we have 9 of Cups moving into 10 of Cups. So for me, I feel like this is saying that in order to progress in terms of feeling very fulfilled, like internally feeling very fulfilled, externally, this might have to do with the realms of relationships or something. Maybe it's like comparison to friends, or maybe I just saw 222 on the clock. Maybe it's like it has something to do with friends. Maybe it's like a karmic knot that has to do with family, or a karmic knot that has to do with relationships, or maybe it's all of that. Maybe in general, it's just like in the realms of 2:34 on the clock. And the realms of relationships in general, maybe you just feel like for whatever reason, there's some sort of karmic knot that binds you from actually feeling fulfilled to the degree that you want to, or actually feeling like you are being received for your full self, or actually feeling like you are being met equally by other people. I feel like there's something that feels like it's out of your reach. It's like this woman, what's going on here with this Page of Wands moving into the Knight of Wands is she's going through an initiation. She's graduating, right? She's moving on from one lesson to the next. And because this flew out in a reverse position, I feel like there's an inability to move past a certain karmic knot. So in February, I am hearing that it is going to continue to feel very difficult if it's something you've been working through or with. And I mean, I believe we'll still be, we just entered Mercury retrograde. So, there's a lot of air here. So there might be even more miscommunication. There might even be more butting heads, right? But I am hearing that there's something about, something that Temperance moving into Devil that felt like, it's interesting because your guides are saying that this person, pile 2 has made a lot of progress in this, but because this karmic knot keeps coming up, that they feel like they haven't. It's like you feel like you take 2 steps forward and then 18 steps back in terms of whatever this karmic knot. This could even do with like self-image. This could do with some sort of addiction in general, whether that be like some sort of eating disorder or just like body dysmorphia. This could be, smoking weed. This, whatever this is for you, whatever codependent relationship or whatever, like escapism in some way that can look like a multitude of ways, or sexuality, there's so many different ways that we can try to flee from just being with ourselves, right? And I'm hearing that it's like you have made so much more progress than you think, but because you're like overly focusing on it, or because you mean the smallest glimmer of you make the smallest glimmer of that repeated behavior means something negative about you, I feel like it's keeping you more ensnared than you actually are. Like, this reminds me of one of those rings that they're all tied together and it's like a magician trick and they do something really quick and then it's completely undone. It's like, I feel like this is a huge teacher in the sense that you're not as bound to this as I feel like you think you guys are. Like, it's definitely perception here, because we have a lot of swords coming up. We have a lot of air energy, which is the realms of perception. It's not even necessarily saying there's no pentacles here. It's not even necessarily saying that this is that you actually have evidence that you are digressing, right? And I feel like because the air energies that you do have are mostly higher, and you have the Justice moving into Hanged Man, I feel like you've developed a certain sense of emotional and mental maturity around yourself, around life in general, just your realms of perception in general, that I feel like you're going to finally feel a big release. And even if this addiction doesn't stop, or even if this repetitive behavior doesn't stop, whatever has been feeling like it's kept you bound, no matter how much progress you make, you're like, when the fuck is this going to be over? I feel like even if the behavior continues, the big teacher here, you guys, has more to do with your self-talk, right? Because what actually binds us to these addictions, even more so than whatever chemical, release we're getting from it, what binds us to it more is shame. What binds us to addictions more is the embarrassment. It's the I shouldn't be doing this, right? It's the knowledge of good and evil. It's not because it's evil. It's because you think it's evil. It's because you think you're bad. It's like what you're making it mean about yourself. Pile number 2 is what I'm hearing. And so with Justice moving into Hanged Man, which what is so interesting is, and what I love about this card is this woman, this is calling upon divine justice, right? This is releasing the sense of personal justice, personal judgment, right? Thinking releasing your sense of, releasing mortal man's idea of justice, and really surrendering this up to God, right? Moving into the Hanged Man, that's release, that's letting go. With this tear, that's release, that's letting go. So I feel like a lot of your progress has much more to do with you're releasing a lot of judgments, and because of it, I would not be surprised if you made so much progress in this area of your life. And this could even just be anxiety. There's a lot of people tuning into this, right? Or there will be at some point. So I feel like that's why it's feeling very broad for me at this point. I can't really fine tune it, but it's just something that feels like for the life of you, you've been trying to untangle yourself from the trenches of this karmic pattern, and it really feels debilitating. It really has taken a hit at your self-esteem. It's like, no matter what, no matter like how much that you would be better off without this thing, it's like, why can't I fucking get past it? Because it has much more to do with the realms of perception, right? Spirit doesn't care about what's happening on the world of form. Spirit cares more about what lessons are we integrating. And the closer you get to the eyes of God, and depending on where you guys are on your journey, ultimately that, the truth, there's a reason why no matter what religious text you go into, why truth remains the same, and why you see, like, one of my favorite books that I have are the parallel sayings of, it's like Lao Tzu, Jesus, Krishna, and the Buddha, right? So all these major religions from like very different parts of the world all saying the same thing, right? And so I feel like there's something about this thing, you're like, this is really signifying your advancement, right? Because this is helping you release yourself from bondage from your own mind. And it's essentially the mind that keeps us in karma. It's essentially the mind and our thoughts around something that keeps us bound to it, right? It's not like, the one thing that I love about major religions is it really drives the point home of like, it doesn't matter what's happening externally. True freedom is you can be face to face with your biggest desire and be like neutral about it. You can be face to face with your biggest fear and be neutral about it, right? That's said in all spiritual texts. So I'm feeling like that's a big part of whatever this is here to teach you at this point in time. This, whatever, it might be resurfacing for you, or you might know already exactly, you probably have a good idea of what it is, what this one area of your life is, right? But it feels like it actually impedes you having closer connections with people, because maybe there's like, you're comparing yourself to other people because they're successful in this area and it feels like you're not. But again, it's like you're approaching this, the Spirit is really asking you to approach this from a sense of divine nonchalance and removing your over-identification with this pattern. The truth of who you are is not these karmic patterns, right? That's part of the uniform that you come in with. That's part of adopting a personality to make an earth experience relevant, right? So this is not the truth of who you are, your addictions, your insecurities, right? Whatever, even your positive aspects, that's not the truth of you, right? Because it's changing. Truth in order for something to be truthful, it means that it's unchanging, right? I just saw 10-10-10. I just saw 10-10 on the clock. Honestly, that is an extremely powerful signifier of an old cycle ending and a new cycle beginning. So I feel like February, you guys are making an extreme amount of headway, and I feel like this is your kind of heads up of like, there's going to be a really big opportunity, or you're currently already feeling that, or this is just whatever is happening in your charts or whatever's happening in the planet in general is creating a really big opportunity to make a ton of headway, almost to the point where I feel like the scales might officially tip to where you don't feel so much more like, oh shit, I have incense going and there's like a carpet. I'm definitely doing my best here. Okay, that didn't burn a hole or anything. But I feel like the scales are finally tipping to where you're not going to take the bait anymore, at least not to the extent that you may have in the past. Like maybe you might still repeat some of those behaviors and things that you're not proud of, but ultimately I'm hearing that you're not going to take the bait in the mind. Like your mind is going to feel a little bit less attached, a little more free, and that's going to happen more and more, right? The more that you stay really focused, the more that you just stay really mindful, I should say, when these old patterns come up again. So just stay mindful, remain in a curious disposition about it, right? That sense of curiosity and not knowing why it's there, not needing it to mean anything about you. Again, the truth of who you are, right, far surpasses any of these things that are coming and going. If it's transient in nature, it's not truth. It's not connected to source. It's born of it is a fractalized component of source, right? And so again, it's like, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the people. I really hope you guys can't hear that. There's people walking around upstairs, and it's really creaky. But I feel like ultimately, those beings that are drawn to my channel, you guys are pretty advanced on your path, right? So I'm not surprised that a lot of the time when I'm guided to make like prediction readings, while we can get an indication of what might happen, what it might look like, Spirit is so much more concerned with like the spiritual nature behind the things, right? And so I feel like that's naturally why I'm drawn to touch on those types of things, because you guys are at a level of your advancement, right? When, you know, there comes a point to where the scales tip to where we're less interested in what it looks like externally. We're much more interested of what does that mean about my soul advancement? How is this trying to bring me closer to God, right? And closer to freedom, right? Seeing more through the eyes of God, seeing more through the perception, the lens of God is going to allow you to holistically feel more free. So yeah, just really important that as these patterns continue to perpetuate themselves, don't take the bait. You're going to tie yourself in a deeper knot. You're going to deepen the karma if you go down rabbit holes, if you start, attaching narratives, attaching stories, attaching sense of identity to whatever this karmic knot is, to whatever this pattern, this habit, this addiction, whatever it is, right? The sense of jealousy, this insecurity, this, aspect of yourself that no matter what, it seems like you make a little progress and you're like, fuck, back to the drawing board, like how, right? But I am hearing that there's going to be big release, big realization, like that kind of release you feel after a really good cry, man, where you're just like, that felt so good. And, crying is generally associated with some sort of grief or some sort of sorrow, but it's like, it is such a cleansing act because it's necessary, because it's just part of the process of being a sentient being on the planet, right? And I feel like this is a really big lesson in terms of like, yeah, you're going to have these things, you're going to have these comings and goings as long as you have a human incarnation, but you can enjoy all of it, right? The more that you extract your sense of identification from anything good, from anything bad, right? You're going to enjoy life even more. You're not going to take the bait of meaning or making anything mean anything about the truth of who you are, or like your life in general. Judge not after appearances, right? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, you're just going to be like, this is just what's happening, right? And so because of that, you're able to touch a level of subtlety, right? That's what bliss is. It's a subtle realm that's unchanging. That's what true peace is. It's a subtle realm that's unchanging. It does not rely on external form. So that's where spirit is drawing you closer into the month of February. You're going to make huge progress as long as you can remain in a really neutral standpoint to whatever progress you think you're making or whatever backtrack you think you're making. Don't take the bait of making it mean anything, and before you know it, you're going to be on the other side of this riddle. I feel like this is something that has just been riddling you your entire life, right? And just feeling like that success, feeling like you're on the other side of it is always just out of reach, right? But February, man, this is your month. You're going to make huge shifts. I'm here for it. You have all that you need. Stay in that neutral disposition. Comment down below if it resonates. If you even, you don't have to share your life to the internet, I get it. But if you want to, we're pretty open here. So like this video, if anything, if it did resonate, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope I see you soon. What's up, group number 3? If you guys chose the big spoon, if you chose the big spoon, I'll be the little spoon. Here is your reading for February overview. So just so you know, if I look over here, it's because this is where the cards are. I have it on a chair. But I'm just working with what I got. Okay, story of my entire life, probably yours too. Okay, so really cool energies. This card actually came up in the last pile, and so I put it back in the deck, and I'm like, I don't know if I shuffled well enough, and it came up again. So I'm like, all right, Spirit, I get it loud and clear. But ultimately, okay, you guys, so really, really interesting cards. I mean, it's so clear that there's a sense of like restriction and limitation that you've been feeling in an area of your life. It could have to do with a partnership, but there's a sense of restriction or limitation. And instead of like utilizing with the 7 of Cups energy, moving into the 8 of Cups. So 7 of Cups can talk about fantasies, illusions, like kind of escaping through our imagination. It's like you're finally making a decision to kind of like break a negative cycle or to break a toxic cycle. I mean, you have Temperance moving into the Devil, which this tells me, you guys, that you're moving from waters of maybe feeling very healed about something, or like I just heard disturbance of the peace, right? So there's something that is like disturbing your peace. You're feeling very limited. You're feeling very restricted in an area of your life. And I'm hearing the month of February, my pile number 3, you guys are finally, I had to check the silverware. I'm like, which silverware am I on? You guys are finally getting to a point to where you have reached the threshold, right? And you are going to make a decision. And I feel like it's going to be the thing that like, that you've had to do, but you've probably put off from doing because there's been some sort of fear. It's like, you're gonna see it in a new way, right? So this literally talks about this King of Wands moving back to the page. This concept of the in-between talks about like passing the baton. It's like same wisdom but different teacher, or like seeing something with a new perspective, right? So I feel like what's allowing you to finally make this change, or finally find a sense of freedom, however you're guided to go about making this change, it's because you're seeing it differently, and you're seeing how much restrictions it's placed on you, right? We have Temperance moving into the Devil, then we have Devil moving into the Tower. So this is telling like a huge, this is like a beautiful story this is telling me, right? This is essentially telling me that, you know, it's like you almost took the bait, you were in a healing place, or you've been doing a lot of healing, and so that which is not serving this new paradigm that you're entering, it's like, are you going to take the bait to stick around, or to continue to allow, like, kind of compromise what you know is right for you, or what you know you deserve, or what you know you want? Are you going to compromise that just because it's been something that you've known for a long time, or it's just like a comfort zone for you? And so group number 3, I really feel like you are I feel like even if you tried the month of February to keep this going, or to try to kind of like continue to let this eat away at your authenticity, like let this eat away at your truth, I feel like it's glaringly obvious that you are just feeling limited, that there's some sense of restriction that's been placed on you that does not holistically support who you are. It's like with this Anima Mundi, this is like, you want the world, and I feel like you're settling for like a gumdrop or something. I don't know, that's what I heard, but I feel like even if you tried to stay in this, like even if you took the bait of temptation, like the Tower is gonna come around and knock it down at some point anyways, right? This is something that our spirit team will do, and I've actually had this several times. It's that notion of like when we intuitively know that we need to do something, we can actually save ourselves burning a lot of bridges, versus having like our subconscious sabotage it, or versus like, you know, looking for a much less direct way to end something, or to walk away from something, or to put a pause on something that we kind of deep down know that we need to walk away from, or put a pause on, or whatever, right? But it's so clear. There's such a clear indication here that I feel like the month of February, you guys will be seeing, I feel like this will be self-instigated, right? Especially because you're drawn to this video. I feel like this is something that you've maybe been wondering for a long time. This could be career, this could be relationship. This is something that is like, I feel so restricted, and I'm at my fucking wit's end, man. I am at my wit's end with this thing, and I just feel like I know I would feel so much better. There's like the tear, you know, it's like that sensation you get after a really good cry, right? You feel so free. There's like so much room to breathe, and it's like, God, I'm not holding on to this shit anymore. It's like it actually has a way to leave, right? To leave your system. And I feel like you don't realize that how much you will actually gain. It's literally like gaining the world by releasing this like one little block. But it seems like because there's so much of this devil energy, it seems like there's a lot of misperception. There's a lot of karmic energy around this thing, around this dynamic in general, that has been making it really hard for you, right? And so it's like when we don't make the decision, eventually spirit will come in and make it for us, because believe it or not, it's actually your higher aspect that designed this template for you in the first place. It was your higher aspect that wanted you to learn this lesson, or to go through this experience to have a certain upgrade, right? And so it seems like you can no longer tiptoe around this. Like, I feel like this is an area that is kind of halting progress in other areas of your life. Like this is halting. Yeah, we have 10 of cups. Yeah, I was right as I said that. I was guided to look at the bottom of the deck. 10 of coins moving into Ace of coins. So it's literally, I feel like, been halting a new beginning. And halting, like literally, I feel like, because it's like this, it seems like it's this one little block, right? It's this one little like blockage. I'm seeing this as like blocking the eye. But once this is removed from the eye, spills all of this is what I'm seeing, right? And so I feel like the month of February, you're going to walk away, and I'm not saying that the floodgates are going to open and you're going to experience your new and like incredible reality shift the month of February, but energetically you're going to feel it. Energetically you're going to feel like, wow, I just made a lot of space. I'm moving in a really powerful direction. Like good things are coming to me. I wouldn't be surprised if you did have at least, because we do have this Ace of coins here, 10 moving into Ace. I wouldn't be surprised if you did have some sort of external validation or acknowledgement of this decision, But it is something that I feel like you guys have been like just dancing around for a while. I don't mean to laugh, but I laugh just because I get it. Like, it's like, we know we would be so much more free. And it's like, we can tune into these paradigms and be like, God, that feels so free, being out of this job and not having to restrict myself in this way, in this area, in this relationship. But there can be a level of guilt we feel, or it's because we're so conditioned to believe reality operates in a certain way, right? And because there's so many people that are buying into that reality, it doesn't matter how wise of a soul you are, or what densities or planets you come from. When you come to Earth, you are most definitely going to be influenced by where the collective consciousness is at in regards to how these things operate, right? And there's a lot of people still buying into that modality of thinking that security looks a certain way, and it's from the outside in versus the inside out, right? And so tangent, but overall, I feel like this is something that you can't just escape throughout your fantasies. It can no longer remain like a what if. Right, in the month of February, I feel like Spirit's really giving you the green light. This might even be something that you've been fantasizing about for a while. Like, I cannot wait till I fucking, with peace and love. I hope you do it with peace and love, because that's just like juju and karma that we don't always need. But I get it. Sometimes, like, if you've been like holding back your truth, if you've been biting your tongue, sometimes it really does end in a messy way. I get it. I've been there, done that many times, and I even want to admit, but I acknowledge and I understand, I can recognize that sometimes that's part of it. Sometimes it's an essential part of the plan, right? Sometimes it's like you need to have those lines drawn so strong and so obvious that there's no going back, right? It's like you literally cannot go back with your tail between your legs, because that bridge has burnt. That not only has the bridge burnt, but it's like there's like 800 yards of space in between, so you couldn't even crawl, and it's like 800 foot cliff, so it's like you can't jump, you can't sail, you can't crawl your way back. It's like that bridge is burnt, right? And so sometimes it has to, it can end that way in order to keep us progressing along our path in a way that interesting. We have the poet. I just was looking at the bottom of this deck. So we can progress on our path in a way that, in a powerful way. And so we're not limiting ourselves. I just got a little mind fart, because I feel like this is something, I'm speaking in a very passionate and like lighthearted way, but I feel like this might be something that does cause some some sadness with this tear. And when I think of the poet, think of the best poetries that we've heard, the best songs we hear. I mean, you look at all these artists, Taylor Swift, One Direction, Ariana Grande, all the major pop stars, most great artists. Why we resonate with their music is because they talk from a place of like real depth. Like Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, it's because, it's like I've heard so many interviews or clips of them saying, like some of their greatest songs, their greatest hits have come from a heartbreak, a huge heartbreak. So for some of you guys, it's like this is gonna, I feel like maybe at this point you don't see how this is going to, like there might be a lot of pain behind this. But when you also look back and when you look at them now, it's like, these things shape us in a certain way to where even though it seems like it's a goodbye from this level, it's never really a goodbye. And this could be a soul contract that you guys are not necessarily, you're not able to see the full scope of how this could be a contract, right? Of you making this decision and you experiencing a certain amount of love within an organization, within a friendship, within a romantic dynamic. Experiencing that and then having to walk away for your own progress, for your own growth, to be in greater alignment with your dharmic path, putting yourself right above someone else, not above, but you know what I mean, like prioritizing your truth versus prioritizing what just feels comfortable. And that's not always easy, right? It's not always easy, but it is a mark of a very wise soul, right? To rip yourself away from situations, from dynamics, to choose to walk away no matter how much you feel those karmic cords connected, no matter how much you just feel like, I don't want to do this, but you choose to because it's the right thing to do, right? Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. it doesn't always feel good, but there's something within you that you just know it's the right thing to do, and you can trust that that poet card, I don't know where it went, but there were like a bunch of birds flying out from like the darkness. And so I feel like that's how you feel. You will emerge from whatever grieving period that you go through, right? But I feel like there is a sense of you that knows, you already know what it's going to be like, but I think you're just too comfortable, or you've been so comfortable. But month of February, it's like, okay, it's time to get crackin', right? It's time to get moving in that direction, because you guys really don't see, Spirit is really coming through strong and saying you guys really don't see how much I feel like this has been blocking so many different new beginnings for you that you say that you want even more. I just saw 12:21 on the clock. But it's something that might feel challenging. It's something that might feel difficult, but it's something that has become so glaringly obvious in your guys' life. Pile number 3, it's like, it's your sense of self and your sense of freedom, your sense of identity, your sense of what you came here is just like deeply inhibited right now. And because your calling and your purpose is so much greater than whatever this comfort zone is, it's like if you don't do it, Spirit will sooner than later, right? And so I feel like it would be a mark of like, I think it would feel really good for you to be the one to graciously bow out than to let, you know, Spirit come through and you know, do what Spirit does. Sometimes it's messy, you know, but again, you'll carry them, you know, like we carry all of these people and all of these experiences. They live on with us and they shape us. And we do eventually get to a point, no matter how messy it was, no matter how many hurt feelings there were involved, we do get to a point, I promise you, to where it's like you have nothing but love. You're just like, oh, the human experience, man. It's messy, it's beautiful, and you can trust it. You can most definitely trust it, but there's great things in store on the other side of this. So pile number 3, I don't need to ramble on anymore. Please comment if it resonates, like this video, subscribe if you've been here before. Good luck with everything. You have all that you need. You are guided. You are divinely led, my friends. I hope I see you soon. Much love. What's up, group number 4? Here's your reading for February energetics. Now, this is a very powerful pile. It's very clear that there is some sort of, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys tuned into my initiation video recently. If you had this initiation card, I mean, there's a huge aspect within this pile that's talking about some sort of death and rebirth happening. I mean, the 10 of Swords moving into the Ace of Swords, literally, like 10 of Swords represents something that is dead and done, all the knives in the back, right? And this is a new beginning. The butterfly represents a new beginning, a new beginning. Did I just say that? I just said like 8 times. New beginning, right? And so it's interesting because we have this Temple card, right? So right away, when I was shuffling I did the archetypes first. I'm like, okay, death leading into the self. I get it. Yeah, that's very obvious. But then even like with this in-between tarot, that is exemplified even more with, we have the Magician moving into the High Priestess. So this is really saying that it's essential that the month of February, if you have not already been through this cycle, this immense death cycle in the month of January, like something really big, something very significant ending, 1:11 on the clock. New beginnings, right? If you haven't already been through that cycle, then the month of February, it's going to happen, right? And it's essential that you lay your tools down and you go inwards. That's literally what this in-between card means. The Magician has all of his tools, right? Has everything he needs for success. But instead of just going out and, you know, whatever, just creating, it's like giving yourself time to turn in and to reflect, right? And to really take time to reflect in a very meaningful way of where you're being drawn to, where you're being led to, what is it that you're really reaching for, and why are you reaching for it? I mean, this Page of Swords moving into the Knight of Swords, this literally also talks about an initiation, having to go through a challenging initiation in order to move into the next phase. But it talks about, like, it's a very excited energy. It's a very excited energy because you know that there are great things in store. It's almost like, I feel like the month of February, if you're not already feeling this, if you haven't gone through this cycle, at least halfway through, I feel, you'll be feeling a new renowned sense of self. Like you'll be feeling very free, regardless of like what catalyzed this, regardless of what area, regardless if this is even like related or if it feels related or what. It's like something significant has died and because of it, it has shifted you. It has shifted your gaze internally, or it's inviting you to shift your gaze internally, especially the month of February. So it's like, then we also have, right, this tells a beautiful story. We have the Page of Swords moving into the Knight, and then we have the Knight moving into the Queen. So this is saying that now he has a channel for all of this excited energy that he's gained from this rebirth process, right? From this initiation that this Thanatos cards represents, right? Now it has a channel through teaching others. Like he is literally going from a knight into the queen energy, the energy of being a guide to other people. And so now it has an appropriate channel, right? So I'm hearing that it's like you will figure out your appropriate channel, or I feel like this is just deepening you unto yourself. This is whatever this catalyst was. I feel like it's going to add, or it already is, like it is adding such a sweetness to you. It's adding a rawness to you. It's adding like this magnetism to you. People I feel like I'm just like so drawn to the energy, right? And I feel like there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power, raw, powerful energy that you're working with that is going to be initiated through this, whatever this major death cycle is, whether that is like a literal death or whether it's like an ego death type of experience, or the ending of something significant in your life, like a significant chapter, a significant relationship. But I am hearing that you will have an appropriate channel, or it will make itself known. Like an appropriate channel will become even, it's like going to be glaringly obvious to you, like how to channel this raw, powerful energy that you have. But it's really essential that, before you go out and start to try to create something new in this related area or whatever, it's like really give yourself time. Like there's no timetable that we need to operate on. And when we really give ourselves permission to take time after these significant endings and after these significant cycles have, completed themselves, it's like we're not worried, we're not making decision in haste, and we're really taking time to really tune in and see, okay, where am I being guided? Where is this nectar drawing me towards? Like, what am I being drawn towards, right? And we only do that. We get better and better at doing that the more that we turn into ourselves, right? And generally, that's what these cycles are here for. These major cycles are here to draw us closer into ourselves. It's like, it's like, that's one of the reasons why it is just known by some of the highest yogis and most ascended masters that suffering is grace. Because ultimately, the purpose of suffering gets you to ask the questions in life that are going to lead you to true fulfillment, rather than seeking that fulfillment outside first. It's not saying that we shouldn't partake in life, right? It's just saying that seek ye first the kingdom, and then everything else will make sense, right? Everything else will be added unto you. You're going to know what to do with your gifts. You're going to know what direction to go in. That it's like you can't put the carriage in front of the horse. The horse has to come in front of the carriage, right? So infinite intelligence, really taking time to tune into God, really taking time to tune inwards and seeing what makes the most sense, and only acting when it feels right. And because so it's like when you do act, it's going to have a level of potency behind it, a level of potency that if you were just making decisions because you felt like you just needed to do something because that's what we've been conditioned to believe, that could get you a certain level of success and a certain degree of fulfillment, sure, but it's not going to be long lasting because it's built on a faulty foundation, right? And so whatever this is, it's like, this is a new beginning in terms of, I feel like this has more to do with, this has a lot to do with like the energetics behind something. There is an indication I did see at the bottom of the deck. You have Page of Coins moving into the Knight of Coins. So this could have to do, this most definitely could, have roots in the external reality too. Yeah, essentially she's going from like an apprentice to like she's put her money where her mouth is in this card right here. So I feel like this might have to do with teaching. If you guys are a teacher or something, or if that's something that you're going to step into, but I am getting a strong sense of like communication with all of this sword energy. And maybe you guys are teachers. Maybe there's something that like this is going to just add to your repertoire of what an incredible guide you are here to be for other people, right? What an incredible teacher you are here to be for other people. Maybe you're going to walk other people through similar things, through similar cycles of death, or just help people reframe their perspectives, right? That's what spiritual teachers are. That's what most mystics and yogis are. It's like, we're just kind of sharing with each other how we've been able to tweak our perception and the tools that we have available to us in order to facilitate clearing blockages, right? Removing obstructions in order to see more through the divine mind, or to access more of the divine mind by clearing obstructions in our own limited mind. That's all really that we're all really trying to do, whether it's self-help, whether it's business, whether it's spirituality, or whatever it is, right? If you're on the path of trying to guide other people into having more fulfilling lives, that's essentially what it is. Right? And it all comes back to how you see it. All comes back to the levels of perception. So you guys are here helping other people in some way to reach a true wellspring of nectar. And oftentimes, it's like our greatest sufferings catalyze us in the most profound ways. Like some of the things that have like changed my life the most. Some of the things that I would never wish upon anyone or consciously wish to happen in my life have actually been the things that have made me the person I am, that I am so proud to be. There are things that have shaped me in such a unique way that I don't know who I would be, right? And they're oftentimes the things that are the hardest, but that's the thing about this earth experience is like, I feel like this too, in a way, is really just giving you a different sense of just honor, and maybe that's not necessarily the right word, but it's just a different level of like reverence for life itself and just the journey of life and the journey of incarnation, right? If you believe in past lives or whatever, it's just like the journey that we all go on over and over and over again, and just like I really am feeling this energy of rebirth very strong here. And just a deep sense of feeling so grateful, regardless of how hard that this has been. The month of February, I feel like you're going to be in a space of just like, if you're not feeling it in February, your guides are coming through and saying, this cycle, you might not be able to see it now because it's ending in February, and it's like, it's hard, and grief, it doesn't matter if we know we're going to be more free when we walk away from something. There's a grieving process because you shared a certain amount of yourself and a certain amount of investment, your life force energy into something. So there's going to be a grieving process, right? But even if you can't recognize that in the month of February, I'm hearing that you will see it sooner than not. You will see the significance. You will see the appreciation. You will be in a state of gratitude overall for having had the strength to go through what you did. Because I am hearing that you will make it through. You will survive no matter how hard it seems at first. And I feel like whatever this cycle is, I feel like you guys probably have seen it coming, right? You've seen it coming to an end. And it's in a way, I'm getting this sense of relief, right? I'm getting a sense of relief and like, okay, I'm okay to be myself. I'm free to be myself. Very similar energies to the previous pile. I think there's even similar cards. I can't remember. They all kind of just like run together. But yeah, if you were drawn to other piles, I definitely would check that out. But I feel like ultimately, like, this is just really saying that this is like, you are going to be a better guide for people. You're going to be much more relatable, much more authentic. I am feeling this very humbled energy, which, is very natural, that comes with the territory of just being humbled by life. And that's not even to say that you needed to be humbled or like, be careful because you're going to be humbled, but just like, that's part of being incarnate. We're going to have those experiences in life that are going to be very humbling. But because so, like, what is humility? Humility is a release of pride, right? And so pride is of the heart. Pride is one of the number one blockages to experiencing compassion, to experiencing true love. And so when you're relinquishing pride because you're living in a much more humble state, right? It's like your ability to experience true compassion, your ability to experience greater connection with other people, your ability to, like, you're less anxious, right? Because pride is like having to prove yourself. Pride is having to put on a show. Pride is having to show up in a certain way. But when you remove that and you're just showing up fresh and you're just like, this is me, I'm just being authentic. It's like, there's such a magnetism. That's probably magnetism continues to come through. It's just like, you're just going to be this nectar for other people. Other people are just going to reach towards you, right? Because it's like, I feel like you guys are probably beings that are already very tuned in and very strong and very just really solid within yourselves. People already see you. People have always seen you as this leader, right? And so I feel like whatever's happening, whatever's ending, whatever cycle is, whatever transition is occurring, I feel like it's just adding to you. It's just already adding to your magnificence. Like, this is like he's earned the crown, right? And it's not that we go through these things, again, wanting to try to prove ourselves, but it's like, it just comes with a territory It's like I'm getting this really surrendered sense about you. People are so drawn to you because there is this level of just like, all right, just surrender. Like, what am I going to do? And that's what death does to us. It breaks us open. It tenderizes our hearts. It kind of forces us into this state of just like being open. And it's like we don't have to, but that like free will is there. That's definitely a choice. However, what am I trying to say here? I feel like for the people drawn to this pile, like it's not in your character to let this wreck you, to let this type of setback or any type of setback wreck you. I feel like whatever comes on your path just shapes you even more. I feel like whatever, you take the sourest of lemons, man, and you make the sweetest, most delicious, organic, pure, satiating, hydrating lemonade from whatever it is that you experience. And so this is going to be no different. But whatever this is it's very significant. I am getting this very divine sense about this transition, very divine, very pure. And, Spirit is really saying, take your time, go in, use this to strengthen your connection to Spirit, to your spiritual eye. But it is going to add whatever it is you're doing, however you're working with people, however you're touching the lives of other people. There is a lot here about communication. So you might be writers, you might be speakers, you might just do something where you're teaching, literally teachers in some way, shape, or form. I mean, this is going to draw even more people to you, right? Because then you're going to be able to communicate to people even better. Just the nature of reality. Again, that's what good guides are. Just communicate through our lens of perception, more expanded ways to see life so we can truly enjoy all aspects of life, right? So we're not just like hiding from some things, enjoying some things and avoiding others. It's like, no, you can embrace the fullness of life. And because of that, it's like, all moments have this deep sense of reverence to them, regardless if it's something that most people would consider good or regardless if it's something that most people would consider bad. I just saw 1444 or 444 might be irrelevant. But yeah, just like divine protection, right? Just divine, you're just surrounded is what I'm feeling. Just really surrounded with beautiful energies the month of February. So I'm going to leave this reading here for now. I'd be really curious to see how this is manifesting in your life. If you want to share, please feel free to. Otherwise, please just like this video if it did resonate. Subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope to see you soon.